Hey loves, welcome back to my channel, and for those of you that are brand new, I'm Candace and welcome to my journey. So this week I actually had a doctor's appointment to go in to discuss the possibility of doing another frozen embryo transfer, of course, for baby number 2. And I have to say, I think the appointment went really well. It was just a very simple, more like an informational appointment. There was no like testing done or any ultrasounds or anything like that done, but it was really sitting down with the nurse, going over my history, and then of course they haven't seen me since I've had Victory, so they wanted to know if there was anything that would be of a concern as far as if I had a complication in the pregnancy or with the birth or postpartum or anything that may have caused any trauma to my body that they need to be aware of going into another transfer. And obviously I've had none of that. I'm so grateful. So we just kind of talked about what will be needed to move forward and to do another transfer this spring. And so really everything was very straightforward, and it's pretty much exactly what I thought it would be. I'm going to need another sonohistogram. I'm also going to need some more blood work just to make sure like my levels are where they need to be before I begin pumping myself with hormones. And now one thing that did happen that I was not expecting is the nurse discussed the possibility of doing a second ERA test. So for those of you that are not familiar with the ERA test, I will link that video that I did up top and down below. But I believe the ERA test is the reason why my frozen embryo transfer was successful this last time around, and it pretty much just takes a biopsy of your uterus, your uterine lining, to determine how much progesterone is in there to see if you actually need more progesterone going into a frozen embryo transfer. So I didn't think I would ever have to do another ERA biopsy, and that's just how terrible it was. I never ever wanted to do one again. But they said it's really optional for me to do. Obviously going through birth and then going through something like a C-section can be considered pretty traumatic to the uterus, and so anything like that happens, it can cause the reception or the receptivity of the uterus to change, which I had no idea about. So that's something I'm really going to have to consider if I want to do another ERA test. Obviously my last test showed that I was pre-receptive, which means I needed more progesterone going in to my frozen embryo transfer than other women, and that little bit of progesterone, doing that one day extra before my transfer, made a world of difference, obviously now, because I got pregnant and we had Victory. So that's one thing I was not expecting to have to talk about today, was another ERA test, and so that's something I'm gonna definitely have to consider. Obviously I want to do everything that I can do this time around, just as I did previously, to make sure that we have success. But on the other hand, I do not ever want to do that ERA biopsy ever again. It was very painful and uncomfortable, and even though it was very quick, it was just something that was not enjoyable at all. So that's something that I will have to consider. And so really I've made the appointment for the sonohistogram, and obviously the sonohistogram is just to look around the uterus and make sure that there is nothing there that will be a hindrance for a future pregnancy or birth. So we're going to do that next week and get that out the way. So they did have me start the birth control pills already, which I was really surprised at. So obviously right now it's February, and so I am aiming for a April transfer. And for those of you who have been following me for any amount of time, you already know that we did our transfer for Victory in April of 2018. And so if everything goes well, fingers crossed, then our next baby will be born sometime around the same time as Victory was born. So that's really where we are now. I'm starting the birth control pill so that I can prepare for my sonohistogram next week. So I'm going to do that and get that out the way. And so for March, also when I do my sonohistogram appointment, I'm going to do my blood work. So I'm just going to take care of both of those things next week. And then for March, I will have to decide if I want to do the ERA test. And if I do the ERA test, then I will be preparing for that for next month. They also did say if I do decide to do another ERA test, then that could possibly push my transfer into May, just depending on how my cycle is and depending on when we do the ERA testing. And so that's something that I have to consider as well. It was just a lot of information And there are some things for me to consider as far as timing. Of course, they said that an April transfer is feasible, but I just need to make sure that that is something that I'm still feeling good about and that I still want to move forward with. And also, I know I'm going to have to wean Victory from breastfeeding. So that's going to be something else that I'm really having to consider, even though now she's like 14 months. And so I know for me, my personal goal was 1 year, which I have made that and surpassed. So we're down now just to 3 nursing sessions a day. And I think it is still just really that bonding and that comfort for her. It's nothing like, I know she needs to be, you know, to have the breast milk now. I know she doesn't. But I just want to make sure that, you know, that I'm making the right decision. I don't want to just like throw Victory like off of me and like be like, okay, come on now, girl. Like, I want to make sure that I'm giving her that amount of time that she needs and not just trying to be in a rush to do, you know, another transfer. So that's really where I am now mentally as far as that is. But as of right now, we're looking all good for an April transfer. I don't know, obviously I don't know the dates or anything yet, but once I do this on histogram and make sure that nothing comes up, you know, in that test that would be a concern, then we can honestly say that, okay, we're moving forward with this April transfer date. So as of right now, we just have to make sure that the sonal histogram is clear, that my blood work is all good and all of my levels are where they need to be, and then we'll just take it from there. And so so Tim actually didn't go to my appointment with me. He actually stayed home with Victory. I know people take their babies to like fertility treatment, fertility appointments, fertility clinics. I just kind of like, you know, I know how it is when you are in the wait for a baby and you're sitting in a waiting room waiting for your fertility treatment and there's a baby right there. Not to say that that's a terrible thing, but sometimes it can cause certain types of triggers for others, and I try my best to not trigger people. Of course, I can't do anything about every single type of trigger, but the things that I have control over, I try to be mindful of that. And so I didn't take Victory to the appointment, and so Tim didn't go with me as well. But he's really excited, and he's like, yeah, we should do the ERA test, you know. And I'm like, you know, I'm the one that has to go through the pain and the, you know, the discomfort. And I know what he's saying. Like, we should do whatever we can do to make sure that we are do our due diligence to make sure that my body is completely prepared for this next embryo, just as we did with Victory. And so that's something that I just have to consider and determine if it's something that I want to do all over again. The one good thing about doing another ERA test is that it will not be as expensive as it was the first time. So that's always a good thing, because they already have like my biopsy on file at the clinic. Not necessarily the clinic, but at the place that actually does the biopsy. What do you call it? What am I trying to say? The lab. That's what I'm trying to say. So because the lab already has like my biopsy results from last time, I don't know if they're just going to take another biopsy and then just compare it to make sure that, you know, nothing has changed, you know, as far as me needing any additional or any less progesterone than before. And so that's really it. I mean, I think this appointment really did kind of ease my mind a little bit, as far as knowing that there isn't a whole lot of stuff I need to do to prepare for another transfer, except for the stuff that I knew, which was the sonal histogram and the blood work. Like I said, I'm just gonna really have to think hard about the ERA test and, you know, determine if that's something I feel like I need to do all over again. But pretty much we'll go into this transfer the same way we went into it before. There won't be anything super different about it. We still have the frozen embryos there, so I don't have to do obviously none of the IVF prep work. It'll just be the same estrogen you know, preparation before transfer, and then of course the dreaded PIO, the progesterone and oil shots. And that's really it to prepare me for the transfer. And then we'll just do exactly what we did before, and we'll hope for the same result again. And so I know people have been asking me like, well, how do you feel? Are you excited? Or, you know, and still I've done a video to let you guys know my thoughts going into another transfer, or even thinking about baby number 2. I think I'm just like, I'm ready, obviously. I'm just maybe, I think I'm just still like, I can't believe I'm doing this all over again. Like, I literally cannot believe, like, I was sitting in the I would say living room. Well, I mean, it feels like living room, but I was sitting in the waiting room like, I cannot believe I am back here again. Like, I cannot believe I am here to discuss doing another transfer, and that it has literally almost been 2 years since I've been back there doing, you know, preparations for transfer. So it just felt really weird. And you know, and I just think I've just, with my history and our history with our journey, I've dealt with a lot of disappointments over my 10-year journey. And so now I think I just want to, you know, have the mindset of whatever's meant to be will be, and I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna do the same things I did before, as far as like the acupuncture and the healthy eating and the working out, and I'm gonna do all of that and do everything I can for my body to prepare it. And then we're just, you know, we'll pray for the best and we'll see what happens with that. And so that's really where I am. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update as far as what happened with the doctor's appointment this week. It's so funny because I did a video a few months ago about the Abridge app, the app that you take to your doctor's appointments and you record the appointment, and then it like makes you know, it makes like a transcript for you and keeps like the recording for you. So I actually used my Abridge app today. I'm gonna put the link down below for you guys if you guys are interested in the app as well. But it literally, you just set your phone down in the appointment. You don't even have to put it like close by. It was in my purse recording. It recorded 33 minutes and 38 seconds, and then it makes a transcript. It pulls out all of the medical terms, so C-section and pregnancy and transfer uterus. It pulled out all of these medical, you know, terms, and then I can
by yourself, you can tell them the next thought.
And I just broke down, started crying, like, cause you know that's my first pregnancy.
I know.
Positive.
My wife and I.
So that was just a little, I just randomly clicked on something that I was talking about in the appointment. So yeah, it was cool. I actually used the Abridge app today for the first time in actual real appointment setting. So I thought that was cool to have, especially because Tim wasn't able to be there. So I'll have everything there if I forgot something or need to, you know, get accurate whatever. So anyway, I think that's the end of the update. It's just really, you know, just real easy, real simple. I just wanted to make sure that I keep you guys updated because I love for you guys to be able to follow my journey and know exactly what's going on. And so I just wanted to share an update with you guys today as to what happened with my doctor's appointment this week. And I will keep you guys updated on the next appointment that I have and the next steps that are going to be required for our next frozen embryo transfer. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're not part of my family, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below so that you don't miss any of the videos that I will be posting as it relates to my journey and of course baby number 2. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll be back next time with another video. Bye.